when you say lion, I saw one lion, in the zoo in Nigeria. That goat was Yesi. That's the type of lion that's Cameroon.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching or listening to us from. This is another episode of the Naija FC Podcast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me my reliable co-host.
Smith Layi, thanks for joining.
Yes, thank you very much, guys, for joining. It is still AFCON o'clock. We're still in AFCON mood, and boy, do we have a nice, entertaining episode for you. Today we are going to do a recap, a review of the group stage of the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations. One of the most interesting tournaments that I've watched, in my opinion. And it's only just the group stage gone. We've had some fantastic games. We've had some shock results. We've had some disappointments. We've had some coaches that are sacked in the middle of the tournament. It's been a very entertaining AFCON. We've had all sorts of drama, both positive and negative, and we'll just take you guys through it all. So I think, Smith, let us start by, maybe first of all going group by group, from group A all the way to group F, and talk about each group, talk about the teams that qualified, the teams that got knocked out, and that would kind of give us some order. Okay. For people that might want to know, for context, we're recording this on January 24th, so the group stage ended today. First of all, we'll go to Group A. Group A, of course, was Nigeria's group. Had Nigeria, Ivory Coast to host, Equatorial Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. And, I must say, almost everybody in the world got this one wrong. Nobody could have really predicted the way this group went and the way this group ended. We saw Equatorial Guinea finishing on top of the group with 7 points, 2 wins and a draw. Nigeria finished second also on 7 points, but, with a much inferior goal difference. The host nation, Cote d'Ivoire, finished third in the group, who people thought would be one of the top teams in this group, finished third with 3 points. And then Guinea-Bissau were rock bottom of the group with 0 points. Smith Layi, I'll let you go first. In hindsight now, what do you have to say about Group A?
Like you said earlier, it was very hard to actually score. And I think that nobody will ever believe that in a group of the elephants of Ivory Coast and the mighty Super Eagles of Nigeria, Equatorial Guinea, National Thunders of Equatorial Guinea will be first in that group. Nobody will actually predict that. And I think that the betting guys, the bookies now will be smiling to the bank because I think nobody will ever be able to predict that one will actually happen. So for Guinea-Bissau to finish last, I expect that it's going to happen. I think that they don't have enough quality. They see slightly far off Mauritania. Slightly, honestly. So for me, surprise. This is the AFCON like no other AFCON. This is the best AFCON I've ever seen from my years of watching AFCON. I've never seen anything like this before. In fact, for the years of watching World Cup stuff, I've never seen something like this before.
No, and I must say that is one of the unique things that Africa has. That you don't get to see in Europe, you don't get to see at the World Cup level, because it's only really in the AFCON that you see a team that is ranked maybe 109 or is ranked 150 something that'll be beating a team that is in the top 50 in the world. And it's one of the things that really makes AFCON so entertaining to me. You cannot really tell what's going to happen. The Nigerian team for 2024 has been no good for anybody. But in this AFCON, nobody for this AFCON grill. Even the small teams. I think for me, the biggest shock, has to be Equatorial Guinea against Ivory Coast. Equatorial Guinea came out with a 4-0 victory. In the third match of the group stage, that Ivory Coast knew that they needed to win that game to be able to finish possibly top of the group, or maybe even at least finish second. They got smashed. They got absolutely battered by Equatorial Guinea, 4-0. Emilio Nsue, top goal scorer of the AFCON so far. What does that say about Equatorial Guinea?
They taught Ivory Coast a lesson because Ivory Coast didn't even need to win. They needed a draw in that game just to stay alive. They needed a draw to stay alive. But they were taught a football lesson. And I just tell you that, when we preview Equatorial Guinea at the start of this AFCON. I said that we cannot play against them. I we are playing against underdogs. I made mention of that. And I
Mm,
said that they have been progressing from 2015. So if you underrate them at your own peril, honestly, because they will suffer you if you dare
mm,
try them. Don't forget that they are top of their World Cup qualifier group with
mm,
6 points from 2 games. So they team that is upcoming. I think Africans you watch out,
mm.
honestly, for Equatorial Guinea. And you mentioned
And
about Isue being top scorer. No, I don't know, maybe to take that one as a compliment, or I say because someone that is playing in the top division and also a right back is a top scorer in AFCON. You know, I don't know how to describe that, but to tell you that you can be playing for Real Madrid and not score one goal in AFCON.
mm,
AFCON is the respecter of nobody. Anybody can humble you in this Africa. That is
mm.
it.
and just to round off on this group, Equatorial Guinea is still focusing on them because they finished up the group. We have to give them their credit. They scored 9 goals in 3 matches. 9 goals. Nigeria, in comparison, struggling. 1-1, 1-0, 1-0. Equatorial Guinea scored 9 goals. What's like? How does that? I don't even know what to ask. How does that make us feel? What does that say about us and about Equatorial Guinea?
With due respect to Victoria Guinea, I know that they took their chances. We would have scored more than that in this event, but we didn't take our chances. We have the firepower of like close to 200 million pounds up front. But we score one own goal. we we score a penalty and we score a close range header. Like this we score. So
Mm,
to tell you that it's not by names anymore. So kudos to Equatorial Guinea for doing well. But for me, I always think that the names again don't play this. I think Nigerian team the goals where we no score for group stage. Nah,
mm,
knockout to go score.
mm. We hope that happens. And yeah, for anybody that wants to know, Equatorial Guinea, of course, qualified for the round of 16 as the group winners. Nigeria qualified for the round of 16 as the second place team, and Cote d'Ivoire, by the special grace of God, considering the fact that teams like Zambia, teams like Ghana were also rubbish,
Mm-hmm,
Cote d'Ivoire qualified as one of the best third place teams. So
mm-hmm,
3 teams made out of our group, and I think when we predicted our group in the beginning, we had said that 3 teams will qualify from our
mm-hmm.
group.
Yeah,
So at least one of our small predictions came true. So we'll give
yeah.
ourselves we'll give ourselves credit for that one. Okay,
Mm-hmm,
let's move over to Group B. Group B had Cape Verde, Egypt, Ghana, and Mozambique. And again, things did not quite go as you would have expected things to go. We saw Cape Verde finishing as the top team in this group. The almighty Pharaohs of Egypt, most successful team in Africa, finished second in the group with only 3 points. Only 3 points. Ghana, Black Stars. This one personally did not surprise me. So, Charlie, if you're watching, sorry, eh? But Ghana finished third in the group with 2 points. And then Mozambique finished bottom of the group, also with 2 points, but with inferior goal difference. So what do you think about Group B and Cape Verde's emergence as the group winners?
I can't imagine in the whole group there's only 2 wins.
Mm,
In the whole group, we only have 2 wins. The 2 wins actually what came from Cape Verde,
mm,
beating Ghana and also beating Mozambique. You know, for me, I was surprised, but with the type of football that Cape Verde was playing, a lot of people think that you kudos to you too. You picked Cape Verde as your surprise package in
yeah,
this AFCON, and I think you got that one right too now.
I got that
So
one right. Yes.
so for me, I'm just surprised what Cape Verde brought to this AFCON because in the group of Egypt, they neutralized Egypt, they made
Mm,
Egypt feel ordinary, and kudos to them. And it's just to tell you that there's a new order now in African football. You cannot underrate anybody. Anybody that you are playing against, make sure you bring your A game. I saw the game today. Before we go there, I saw the game today between DR Congo and Tanzania. DR Congo was scared to lose. They were defending because they saw what happened to Algeria. They saw what happened to other big nations. They don't want to come out.
Mm.
So to tell you that there's a new order currently now in African football, I just hope that this smaller team, the so-called smaller team, can actually was sustain it. For Ghana, I saw it as a disaster coming, and all of us here, we all agree that Ghana might not qualify
See,
from this.
and that's the reason why I didn't even bother to pick Ghana as my disappointment, because in my head, this is not even a disappointment. This is the same thing they did last AFCON. So I was nothing about Ghana's zone surprised me.
Yeah, and with due respect, this is an improvement on their last AFCON. They got 1 point in the last AFCON. They
This is
got
what
two
they get
points
to.
in this in this AFCON. So it's an improvement from their last AFCON. But so just to tell you that Egypt will know that that they are in for it now, and
Mm,
also kudos to Mozambique. There's no best third place team in that group, but for me, I think that if there's go be any team that have deserved to be there, it will be Mozambique.
mm,
Mozambique got a penalty equalizer against Egypt last minute. They got two penalties against Ghana. I know that penalty is part of the game, but if that one that was in there, they would be more careful in the box. I think Mozambique would have been, at least one of the best placed teams.
mm.
That been surprised, but I'm not surprised about Ghana.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I would say that group was with Group F, probably joint worst groups in the tournament. There wasn't too much excitement coming out of that. I mean, there was excitement, but there weren't many wins. Like you said, Cape Verde managed to get the only 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Egypt played 2-2 in all 3 matches of their group stage. So if anybody had managed to place that bet now, if I don't they smiled or they laughed to the bank.
Yeah.
But I'll say the thing that impressed me the most, Cape Verde,
Mm-hmm.
their resolve, their fight.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that game against Egypt. Egypt scores them in the 92nd minute to make the
Mm-hmm.
game 2-1. And one would have thought that, that's the
It's
end.
over.
Egypt are going to win that match. But Cape Verde, to have that kind of fight, to have that kind of resolve, to be able to still go and score in the 99th minute, it just shows that those sharks, they said, nah, nah, nah. We're not just coming here to participate, we're coming here to dominate. And it
Mm-hmm.
was a very fantastic performance, by Cape Verde. We're going to talk about the knockout stage later, but I also think that they are going to further advance in this tournament, and is they're making me happy as my surprise package pick. They are really, really impressive. Even though I thought it would be a surprise package, I don't know if I expected it to be as dominant as they are looking so far. And kudos to Cape Verde. My Ghanaian brothers, I would just say you people might not have seen this coming, but the rest of us, we kind of knew what to expect. Um, I'm not too surprised at the way things went. It's sad. I feel bad for maybe players like Mohamed Kudus, because you could see him trying his best. He was almost their only player. Jordan Ayew was scoring from the penalty spot. That was his own contribution in tournament. Um, but all in all, I think everybody would agree that Ghana did not deserve to qualify from this group. They were not a very good team in this tournament. It's sad because they are one of, or at least supposed to be one of the mighty teams in Africa. But like Smith Layi said, you people should take solace in the fact that you improved from the last AFCON. 1 point last AFCON, 2 points this one. In 2025, maybe you will get 3 points. And
Mm-hmm.
God can help you to qualify from your group,
Yeah,
then.
I just want to also make one funny joke. So when they ask when Adebayo about weirdness now for Ghana, where did they go from here? He said that you go. That was that was
That was
what
it
Adebayo
now.
said. He said
Where else do
there's
they want
nothing
to
else
go?
to do than to go. So you know, like you say, I wish them the best of luck. Maybe they can get 3 points in Morocco
Mm.
if they
Okay,
qualify.
okay. Let's move on to Group C. Group C is the group that saw the only perfect team in this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the champions, Senegal. They were my pick to win the entire thing. It doesn't mean that they're surely going to win, but they are for sure off to a good start. Senegal, 3 games, 3 wins, 9 points, top of Group C, plus 7 goal difference. They showed their quality, they showed their class in their matches in the tournament. There was none of the games that it even looked like the other team might beat Senegal or might even snatch a draw. I think Senegal so far in the group stage, I'll probably say that they were my best team. They were the best team overall. So kudos to them. Um, Second place in this group was Cameroon, finishing with 4 points. Third place, Guinea, finishing with 4 points. And fourth place, Gambia, finishing with 0 points. I will say, Cameroon, I'm a bit disappointed in them because I predicted them to be my disappointments. So they disappointed me by snatching that late win, in that final game against Gambia. Because everything was going so well for me. I was laughing at them. I was happy that Cameroon are bottling it, but they managed to get that win and qualify as group runners up. The truth is that the rest of their group was just not that strong. Because if they were in Nigeria's group, they'll be going home. If they were in, a group like Angola, they'll be struggling to qualify. If they were in South Africa's group, they'll be struggling to qualify. But still, they were able to finish as group runners up. Guinea as well, the team that beat Nigeria in the pre-AFCON friendly, managed to qualify as the third place team as well. But overall, I think this group, was a decent one. Like I said earlier, Senegal showed their class, showed their dominance. Cameroon managed to scale through alongside with Guinea. Um, but yeah, I think other than Senegal in this group, I'm not really expecting either of the other two teams that qualified to have a long, showing in this. They bought themselves one extra match, but I think it might just be one extra match and they'll be going home. But yeah, this AFCON has shown us that we can't really predict, but let us see what happens. What did you think about Group C?
For me, Group C, we all knew that Senegal were too strong for the rest of the teams, and they are favourite to qualify. And I think they considered only one goal. That was the goal by Catalano against Cameroon. So
Yeah.
that shows that their defensive resilience, they are also very strong going forward. So I think apart from Guinea Equatorial, that's called like a basketball game.
Mhm.
You know, no team I think scored goals like the way they actually what did. I'm talking about
And sorry to cut you off, but just to give people context, to show you how impressive Equatorial Guinea were. Equatorial Guinea scored 9 goals, and Senegal only scored 8 goals in the group
eight
stage.
goals.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's to tell you. So I know what really caught my attention was the last game. So Senegal already qualified, but Senegal fighting for who will top the group. So I was
Mm.
thinking that the coach will give the reserve players, as you say, will give reserve players the opportunity to actually play. But what surprised me was that he went with his very strong starting 11.
Mm.
And it was one of my friends that told me that he doesn't want to play Nigeria because if we gave to play Nigeria early to this tournament, anything can happen. To tell you that people too are scared of Nigeria. They don't want any banana peel so early in this tournament because nobody will know. Nobody will tell you that Senegal did well if they just crash out in the second round of Nigeria.
Yeah.
So they also wanted to win against Guinea, and they got a win. But the drama of the day was between Cameroon. Cameroon looks like a big thing. When you say lion, I saw one lion. In the zoo in Nigeria.
In
That
Ibadan.
goat, that goat was Jesse. That's the type of lion that's Cameroon. So the goat was Jesse. So that's the type of they are not indomitable. So because they was being, imagine scorpions chasing lion, the scorpion, of Zambia, of Gambia, chasing lion, almighty lion. So they struggle to qualify. But I think I don't want to be first of doom, but I think that they'll be going back to Douala on Sunday.
Very soon. Okay. Let's move on now to Group D. Group D, we had Algeria, winners of the AFCON in 2019. We had Mauritania, we had Burkina Faso, and Angola. I think this was another interesting group. Another group that was hard to predict and frankly, shocked a lot of people. Um, Angola finished as group winners, top of the group with 7 points. Burkina Faso finished as runners up with 4 points. Mauritania finished as the third place team with 3 points, getting their first win in the AFCON. And then Algeria, quote unquote, almighty Algeria, were bottom of this group with only 2 points. I'll say, first thing, some people might say, oh, we saw how Algeria struggled at the last AFCON, so maybe it did not surprise them. Some people might want to claim that they were expecting this. But I'll be honest with you guys, I was not expecting this. I'm sure you guys watched and listened to our predictions. I know that, yes, maybe sometimes they say, oh, the North Africans don't do too well in sub-Saharan Africa where the climate is different, yada, yada, yada. But still, I thought that the quality of Algeria, regardless of whether na snow or na heat, I thought the quality of Algeria would be enough to be able to advance, past frankly, the three other teams in their group. And for me, the most interesting thing that happened was on match day 3 when we saw, a little country, a country that is just their football project is maybe 8 years, less than 10 years old, maybe 9 years, I think. And they are beating Algeria in a do or die affair. Because match day 3, everybody knows that this is the final game. You have to get a win, or some teams you have to get a draw to secure your place in knockout round. And for Mauritania to beat Algeria, I think it was a huge shock to me, and it was a huge shock to a lot of people. I have to give kudos to Angola. They did their job. They finished unbeaten, 1 win and 2 draws. Burkina Faso, I kind of thought Burkina Faso would qualify as maybe third place or second place. They qualified as second place, but I was thinking that they will be behind Algeria. So give kudos to them as well. 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. Fair enough result. And then I think Algeria, I don't know what they are going to do to come back up, but Smith Layi, what do you think of this group D?
So for me, the group, when you play a game in Buake, in Ivory Coast, you expect shocks because this is like a slaughter slam. I don't know, maybe it has been jinxed, but the last time Africa was hosted, this is where Ghana, that was the defending champion, capitulated. They call it the disaster of Buake. And I think Algeria too will go back home in your years and call this a disaster in Buake. But the issue is this: like Ghana, Algeria had 1 point the last AFCON, but they had 2 points now. So they have progressed from 1 point to also 2 points. They finished bottom in their group, just like last AFCON. But what surprised me about this Algerian team is this: when they saw the way Morocco performed in the last World Cup, I think their rivals, their neighbors, they were able to copy the same template. They did. They invited players from everywhere in Europe to see maybe they can, use the Moroccan template to see them, get them over the line. But it was a complete disaster. Since their first game against Angola, I knew that no, they are not actually going anywhere. So, I think the coach has resigned already. He said he can't take this team anything further. And I think that some senior players too, the national team too, they wanted to actually retire from international football. This is a big, big surprise team. But what I will say basically is that congrats to Mauritania, like you said earlier. Look at how, when it mattered most, the most important game, Mauritania edged Algeria. That's the beauty of the game. And the funniest thing is that Mauritania, they were up for the game. All the tricks, the Algeria trio, they were there. They mastered everything and they did their job. Kudos to them. And I'm also surprised with the Angola team too. I tipped them to play against Nigeria in the quarterfinals. So we'll see them there.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that kind of concludes Group D. We have 2 more groups to touch on. We'll go to Group E. Group E had South Africa. Group E had Tunisia, had Mali, and had Namibia. Another one that came with some surprises, in the final result. Mali ended up finishing top of the group with 5 points. I think many people would have expected Mali to qualify. South Africa ended up finishing second with 4 points. I personally wasn't expecting so much from South Africa, making their triumphant return, but they did well enough to finish second in the group. Third place, Namibia with 4 points. And then rock bottom of Group E, Carthage Eagles of Tunisia. The team that knocked Nigeria out of the last AFCON in the round of 16. See, has God on punishment now. God now finally turned things on you. I say, you're not coming out of the group this time. I think that was the one that surprised me and surprised a lot of people. When we did our initial group stage predictions. We had predicted Mali, Tunisia, and South Africa to qualify from this group. But then Tunisia fell out everybody's hand and finished bottom of the group. So if we look at it, we have Algeria getting knocked out, finishing bottom of their group. We have Tunisia getting knocked out, finishing bottom of their group. Do you think maybe there's some truth to this North Africans not being able to perform, in sub-Saharan Africa? Could that be a reason for why Tunisia also finished bottom of their group? What do you think?
One thing I've noticed in this tournament is that the Kosafa team and the West African team, they have mastered how to play against North Africa. And I wasn't surprised when I saw the game between South Africa and Tunisia. I knew that South Africa might not be able to, Tunisia might not be able to get past Africa. But this Tunisian team, for me, is not a strong team. I think it's the weakest out of those coming from North Africa. So they got 3 points in their last AFCON, and now they got 2 points. It's like they actually did not progress. So for me, this group is one of the tight teams that you cannot really easily predict. But Mali managed to win only one game, and that one game they managed to win against South Africa pushed them to the top. The win for the brave warriors of Namibia against Tunisia pushed them through. This is the first time you see these teams qualifying for the second round. So, Namibia, kudos to them. South Africa, kudos to them too. I just think Tunisia, we go back to the drawing board and go and see maybe, there's things they can actually do before the Morocco edition next year. Because if the Morocco edition next year did not work out too, a disaster. A disaster for them. So for me, I got my prediction wrong for this group too. I thought Tunisia should be second, but I don't know that they don't have enough firepower to actually do it. So, I wish Mali the best of luck. For me, I told you earlier that Mali will be the underdog to win this tournament.
Okay. And I will say, I'll just give kudos to Namibia as well. Definitely impressed a lot of people, getting a draw against Mali in that final game, not an easy one at all. And also scraping that 1-0 win over Tunisia in their group opener, is what helped them get over the line. If they lost their game against Mali, things would have been looking a little bit different. But they got the result that was necessary and they qualified as the third place team, as one of the best third place teams. So kudos to Namibia, and hopefully this is just the start of their good journey in African football. And moving on to the final group very quickly. Group F, of course, had DR Congo, had Morocco, had Zambia, and had Tanzania. I would say Group F was probably the least shocking group of all the groups in this tournament. Group F was the one that, maybe everybody could have predicted correctly what was going to happen in the group. I mean, we would all have expected Morocco to finish top. They did finish top with 7 points. We expected DR Congo to come second. They came second with 3 points. We know that Zambia are a decent team, but obviously still not a very great team compared to the other two. So Zambia finished third with 2 points. And then Tanzania, wasn't expecting too much from Tanzania, and they showed that they are not really on the same level and finished bottom of the group with 2 points. Same as Zambia, but with a negative 3 goal difference compared to Zambia's -1. So yes, Morocco through to the knockout rounds like would have expected. I think DR Congo, they were not great, to play 3 draws in the tournament, kind of similar to what Egypt did. Doesn't show the most, doesn't show the best ability, but at the same time, it was enough to get them through. And then, Zambia, I don't know. It was almost as if they just wanted to sabotage themselves in each match, because I was watching the Zambian games and they will be in it. Then they will make one silly mistake or they will get one silly red card, and then all of a sudden it's just tough for them. I was feeling bad for their coach, Avram Grant, because the man is an old man. They should not put him through that kind of stress, because I honestly feel like if they did not just get a few little things wrong here and there, they had a decent chance. They looked like a team that their coach had set them up well, but the players just could not go on the field and execute properly. And I think that that's what ultimately cost them because they didn't qualify as one of the third place teams. I think that's what cost them in this tournament. Not too much for me to say about Group F. Like I said, unsurprising. Smith Layi, how about you? What do you think?
And for me, Group F is like the twins or the twin of Group B. The same points, the same
Mm,
order, everything. Cape Verde 7 points, Morocco 7 points, DR Congo 3 points, Egypt 3 points,
mm,
Ghana 2 points, Zambia 2 points, Tanzania 2 points, Mozambique 2 points. It's just the same order. So to tell you how tight this AFCON is, I got this prediction right. I think that DR Congo have a stronger team than Zambia. They finished second. That is good. But I also think that Zambia will finish third. So, but I thought
mm,
Zambia would have enough points to qualify for the next stage. But
mm,
unfortunately, they did not. Zambia struggled throughout their games. You see that there's this team, they struggled. But I think the game that broke the camel back was the game against Tanzania.
mm,
I think that game they would have that stupid red card. That game was actually should be the game that they would have won. They were
yeah.
fortunate to even draw it. that is it. And today they let a draw to qualify. Why can't you just stay compact? They wanted to go and win. Though I know that the best form of defense is to attack, but why can't you just stay compact and and see what can actually will come out of today's game? But like we expected, DR Congo and Morocco. You know, Morocco. We see you in the semifinals.
Mm. Okay. So just round off the teams that qualified from each group again. Group A, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria. Um, Cote d'Ivoire as one of the best third place teams. Group B, we had Cape Verde and Egypt going through. Ghana, unfortunately, going back to Accra. We have Group C, Senegal, Cameroon as the top two, and Guinea qualifying as one of the
Mm-hmm.
third place teams. Group D, we had Angola and Burkina Faso as the top two, and then small but mighty Mauritania qualifying as one of the best third place teams. Group E, we had Mali, South Africa as the top two, and kudos to Namibia qualifying as one
Mm-hmm.
of the best third place teams. And then Group F, we had Morocco and DR Congo qualifying from that group. So the brackets are set. The knockout round, is upon us. And it's going to be an interesting one. This is when tournaments become tournaments. For me, this is when anything can happen because it is now about how you perform on the day. There is no, okay, we'll do it better in the second match. Super Eagles, after we draw our first game against Equatorial Guinea, they said, oh, at least we created chances. Don't worry, we'll be better in the next match. This one, there's no, we'll be better in the next match. If you are not good on that day, you are packing your bags, you are going back home. You
Yes.
have to be ready on that day. And
Mm-hmm.
tournaments, I like it because you also don't have to play fancy football. You
Mm-hmm.
also don't have to be a fantastic team. You don't have to dominate the game. All that you have to do is win. That
Mm-hmm.
is the most important thing. That is, how certain coaches like Jose Mourinho have built their careers. That okay,
Mm-hmm.
we get tournaments, I will defend though, but I will win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that this knockout round, we're going to see some shocks as well. Just like we've seen in the group stage, we are
Mm-hmm.
going to see some shocks as well in this knockout round.
Yeah.
Because in this group stage, there were many games that were close, tight ones, and teams just managed to go through. So yeah, let me just give you guys the draws for the round of 16. We have Nigeria, Super Eagles of Nigeria, playing against Indomitable Lions of Cameroon. For me, this one, it's like this one can either make me or break me as far as my prediction. Because I predicted Cameroon to be my disappointment. If they now go and manage to knock out Nigeria, it will be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I'm going to say Nigeria will knock out Cameroon and Nigeria would advance to the quarterfinals. Like, what do you think about that one quickly?
If thief come to your house and you want to beat the thief, the way they beat thief, that's how Nigeria will beat Cameroon.
Okay, I like that. So yeah, okay. The next round of 16 matchup, we have Angola against Namibia. This one, I think, again, if I'm predicting based on how things went in the group stage, Angola, I think, were pretty good side, qualified top of their group. So I'll probably say Angola would advance and beat Namibia. So, guy, what do you think?
I think the brave warriors will be too brave for the antelopes.
Mm,
The warriors will hunt down the antelopes of
mm.
Angola. Namibia to
Okay,
qualify.
okay, I like that. The third game we have Cape Verde against Mauritania. I'm going to stick with my surprise package of this tournament, Cape Verde. I like Mauritania. They showed resolve. They showed fight. To be able to beat Algeria and qualify from the group. But they are playing against another team that has, in my opinion, even more fight.
Mm-hmm.
Even more ability. And I think that unfortunately for Mauritania, Cape Verde will just be too strong for them, and Cape Verde will qualify from this one. What do you think?
I will go with you, but I just think that it's a game. If it's a game that can go into extra time, I'm about penalties. This is like a banker.
Mm,
So I think that Cape Verde will still qualify. The
mm,
Blue Sharks will still we still find a way to qualify.
mm.
Cape Verde
Okay.
qualify.
The next game we have Morocco Atlas Lions against Bafana South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm going to go with Morocco. I think that they're just going to have too much quality for South Africa. In the beginning of the tournament, I also did not even expect South Africa to do as well as they did. So I'm going to give them a chance. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think it's probably going to be a 1-0, if not even an extra time 2-1. But I think Morocco ultimately will beat South Africa. What do you think?
This is where I'm going to go against you. I think the way South Africa beat Egypt in
Mm,
2019, that's the way they will do knock out Morocco.
Okay. Let's see who comes out on top. The next match we have Mali going up against Burkina Faso. For this one,
Hmm.
I think I'll go with Mali. I like Burkina Faso. I think they are a decent team, but I think I like Mali to be more. I think this is another game that is probably going to end maybe 2-1. But I think Mali will have enough to beat Burkina Faso. What do you think?
This is it's a very tough game. He's go if you want to sleep, you are not sleeping. If you want to sleep very well, go and watch this game. You will be not the opportunity. It's going to be so cagey, midfield battles and everything. But for me, I just think that Mali will edge it. But Mali that was scared of Namibia that went to their shell. But I just think that Mali will still edge it if it's going to go into extra time. I go with Mali. But if Burkina Faso win this game, I'll not be surprised.
Yeah, no, I also think it's going to be a close one, but I think Mali will have enough. Okay, next match. We have the defending champions, Senegal, going up against the host nation, Ivory Coast. Um, honestly, before the group stage, if you told me about this draw, I would have said, this is a tasty one, this is a close one. But
Mm-hmm.
for me, after seeing this group stage, I don't think it's as tasty as it's supposed to be, honestly. I think the Teranga Lions are going to run the elephants out of the zoo or out of the jungle. If Ivory Coast can capitulate in
Mm-hmm.
front of their home fans and
Mm-hmm.
lose 4-0 to Equatorial Guinea,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they can beat Senegal. It might not be as embarrassing because obviously they would have learned their lesson.
Mm-hmm.
They will come and be more compact. They will
Mm-hmm.
come and be more organized.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
I think quality is going to show. And obviously, Senegal were the best team in this group stage. I
Mm-hmm.
think they are going to show that quality and they are going to defeat Ivory Coast. This one, I will go maybe 2-0. If Ivory Coast scored, then 3-1. But I think it will be a 2-goal differential between the teams. What do you think about this one, Blair?
If there's any team that would take Senegal out of this AFCON, it's going to be Ivory Coast.
Hmm.
And I think the way this draw is set, it's like Senegal doesn't want to, they don't want to risk against Ivory Coast. For me,
Hmm.
you will see a different Ivory Coast team. So the one you saw against Equatorial Guinea.
Hmm.
You will see a different personnel in this team, different tactics in this team. The match is going to be played in Yamoussoukro.
Hmm.
And and there's going to be a party there for Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast to win. It's a
Ivory
party
Coast to win.
place. Ivory Coast to win.
Okay, I like that.
But it might not be a straight win, no. It might be extra time. This thing was Ivory Coast to win.
Okay. We also have Egypt going up against DR Congo. The Pharaohs of Egypt, most successful side in Africa. But for me, this is where I'm going to predict an upset. I've not been impressed by Egypt in this group stage. 3 draws, managing to scale out of their group. Um, so I'm going to go with DR Congo in this one. I think DR Congo will win this game 2-1, and they will advance, to face to face the winner of the final match. But I think DR Congo will defeat Egypt in this one. What do you think?
I think I'm tempted to go with you two. I think Salaless Egypt will lose against DR Congo. I just think that it's high time they go. And I saw DR Congo play against Tanzania, and I realized that the way DR Congo play against Tanzania, I hope that they will not play like that against Egypt. If it's like that against Egypt, that means that they're gonna be in trouble.
Okay. And I think for the final match, we have the Battle of the Guineas. We have Equatorial Guinea going up against Guinea Conakry. For this one, I'm tempted to go with Equatorial Guinea because of how they played in the group stage and because of the kind of dominance they showed. But I think I'm going to. I don't know if you consider this an upset. I guess after the group stage, you have to consider this an upset. But I think Guinea will beat Equatorial Guinea. I know Equatorial Guinea have been on a high. I know they've blazed through the group. They've scored 9 goals. They have Nsue, the top goal scorer. But I think they're going to bottle it in the knockout round. I think they're going to get here and the stage is going to be too bright for them. And I'm going to predict, a maybe an extra time 2-1 defeat. And they will lose this match to Guinea. What do you think, Smith Layi?
Guinea will qualify,
Mm.
but we don't know which Guinea. We have 2 Guineas here: Guinea Equatorial and Guinea Conakry. For me, I think there's nothing special in Guinea Conakry. That there's nothing special in them. The way Equatorial Guinea play, Guinea Conakry, we find it very hard to handle them. 3-1 Guinea Equatorial.
3-1 to Equatorial Guinea. I love that. And I know anybody that's from Equatorial Guinea that's watching this podcast or listening to us, they'll be mad at me because I've not believed in them since before the tournament started. Even after they are showing in the group stage, I still don't believe in them. But you guys can continue to shock the world, continue to surprise us, and hopefully you can go as far as possible. So yes, those are the round of 16 matchups. Smith, like just for us to round off this episode, what do you think was the best game of the group stage? We had so many fantastic matches, fantastic goals scored. But for you, what do you think was the best game of this group stage?
Not to look at it in a very sarcastic way, to be honest, I would pick Gambia against Cameroon. The game is like free for all. When you say free for all, it's like I don't know. Maybe you have known when you play sets in Nigeria, and you're about to go home in the night. People are just scoring anyhow. That's how it is. You just go before you know somebody has scored again. It's already dark. So that was how the game was. It was, AFCON was the best game. I went to take something when I came back. Scores don't change. I just say, who is that person at the door? Scores don't
I
change.
think I would
Things
honestly,
like that. I think that was the game that, yeah.
No, yeah, sorry. And I think for me, I would have to agree with you. That's what I had in mind. That game, Gambia versus Cameroon, had everything. It had
Yes.
drama, it had the goals. It had somebody that in this 2024 that we have VAR, somebody is trying to score hand of God.
Out
The
of
game
God.
the
Even
game
as
had everything.
there's even emergency coach online. The person of the man United goalkeeper on Nana. Clapping.
And Jordan was benched for their crucial game.
Yes.
It had everything that you're looking for in a game. Fantastic match, competition between the two teams, late goals, a fight between both sides. ultimately Cameroon won, and I think that for me that was the best game of the group stage. A close second for me, I'll give credit to Equatorial Guinea. I think that 4-0 win against Ivory Coast deserves some credit as well. I think that was a fantastic game to be able to shock the host nation, and beat them like that, like spank them properly. I think Equatorial Guinea deserve a shout. But I think one thing is that a close game tends to always be more entertaining than a lopsided victory. So
Yes.
that's another reason why. And with the late goals, with the handball, everything that occurred in the Gambia Cameroon game, I'll just have to go with that one. So yes, those are our thoughts on the group stage. We've told you about the round of 16, games and who we think will qualify from each match. Let us see which ones we get right. The important thing to note, I think, is that the brackets have been formed. The winner of Nigeria versus Cameroon will face the winner of Angola versus Namibia. So let's see what happens there. The winner of Cape Verde versus Mauritania will face the winner of Morocco versus South Africa. So it could be an interesting quarterfinal match as well. The winner of Mali against Burkina Faso will face the winner of Senegal against Ivory Coast. And then the winner of Egypt against DR Congo will face the winner of Equatorial Guinea against Guinea. This AFCON, I think, is on par to be one of the most entertaining AFCONs. I think that we're going to have more shocks in this knockout round. And, hopefully we all enjoy it. We'll continue to give you guys fantastic episodes. We'll continue to share our thoughts. Even hopefully Nigeria gets all the way to the final, but even if Nigeria falter, we'll still continue to cover the AFCON for you guys and to give you all the best that is coming up. Smith Layi, any final words before we round off for
So
today?
I want to ask you a question too. Do you think that because the game was played in West Africa, 8 teams in the second round are from West Africa?
To be fair, I've never played professional football, yeah? So I don't know the full extent of how climate matters. I don't know the full extent. But with my limited knowledge, I would say no. I don't want to believe that these North African, South African, East African sides just cannot play in the West African climate. I don't want to believe that. I want to just believe that, the West African sides played well, and deservedly, coincidentally, are the ones that went through. I don't believe that, Algeria just did not qualify because it's too hot or because the air is drier than they're used to or something or more humid. I don't want to believe that. No.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments. Let us know who you think is going to win each match of the round of 16. And then, of course, we will keep on predicting as the rounds go on. The knockout stage is going to kick off on the 27th of January. The first match is going to be Angola versus Namibia, then followed by Nigeria versus Cameroon. So we will know quickly where our fate lies, don't worry. We won't have to take too long. And then, yeah. Thank you very much for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure talking football with you, Smith Layi, as well. And then, yes, this has been the Naija FC Podcast. As always, I'm your host, AyoT, and I have with me
Smith Layi, thanks for joining.